Hi guys, and in this lens review, we're going to be testing out Canon's newest standard premium zoom lens, the Canon RF 24-70 f2.8L IS USM. And I'm going to start right now. Now this lens is part of Canon's Holy Trinity lineup. So you've got the 15-35mm, you've got the 24-70, and then you've got the telephoto, the 70-200mm. So I am expecting exceptional image quality from this lens because they are asking a fairly hefty price tag, but we'll talk about price in the review. So let's kick this lens review off, firstly talking about build quality. Now something I like with all new RF lenses, I must say, is the overall build quality and the design. I must say I really like them. Most of the lenses that I've reviewed so far, especially RF ones, I've given quite a high mark when it comes to the build quality and overall design of the lens. So at the bottom here, you've got the focus ring, which takes up predominantly most of the size of the lens. Then you've also got a focus ring. Now this focus ring is electronically coupled to the focus motor. Then right at the top, you've got a control ring. Now what I really like about the control ring is it's multifunctional. So basically you can control any aspect of the camera's function. I have mine connected to white balance, but you can have it connected to ISO or pretty much anything you like. Now on the side, you've also got an autofocus to manual focus switch, as well as an image stabilization switch. Now, as well as that, you've also got a lock switch. So because this lens externally zooms, you can lock it at 24mm so it doesn't creep when you're walking around. Let's say you're at a wedding, you don't want it to just naturally extend using gravity, so you can actually lock it at 24mm, which I think is a nice feature. Now this lens also comes with a lens hood and a lens pouch in the box. Now this lens consists of 21 elements in 15 groups, which actually makes this lens quite large and quite heavy, but we'll definitely talk about size and weight in a bit. And you've also got weather sealing with this lens as well. So overall, I think this lens is exceptional when it comes to build quality. So because of that, I'm giving it the full marks, the 10 out of 10. So let's move on to the all-important image quality to really work out, is this lens worth a spot in your camera bag? Now, I took this lens to one of my recent weddings, and I think a 24-70mm or a standard zoom lens, to be honest, I think excels in that environment. You just want to bring one lens with you, or you're limited on space in your camera bag, 24-70mm has got you covered. 24mm is ultra wide angle, and then 70mm is medium telephoto. So to be honest with you, for the range that you've got, I think this lens really is good for a wedding or event style photography. Now you've also got a minimum focus distance of just 21 centimeters. Now grant you, that's definitely not macro, but it's definitely good for a standard zoom lens. I also thought, and most standard zoom lenses suffer from this lens had really good bokeh or background blur. The separation of the foreground and background looked really nice, and the background didn't look muddy or it didn't look overly complicated. And you could definitely say that with older lenses. So this is a definitely leg up from the older EF 24-70mm if you were thinking about upgrading. So overall, I think this lens was really good when it comes to image quality. But let's look a little bit more scientifically at the graph. So wide open at 24mm at f2.8. If we go ahead and zoom into the center and the corners, you can see really sharp in the center, wide open at f2.8. And then the corners, although they're a little bit darker, they're still quite sharp, which is really good to see. So if we step down to f4, the center sharpens up a little bit further and the corners brighten up a little bit. So you can definitely see this lens suffers from a little bit of vignetting. Then if we step up to f5.6, I would say the corners get really sharp at this point and the center stays nice and sharp as well. Then if we step to f8, it's the same. Corners and center are really sharp. To be honest, this lens really did perform very well at f8. Then we've got f11 and then all the way to f16, where this lens starts to suffer from diffraction. So let's go ahead and zoom into 70mm. So at 70mm, wide open at f2.8, you can see the center and the corners are decently sharp. Obviously the center is far sharper than the corners here, as well as the corners are a little bit darker. So again, you can definitely see this lens suffers from vignetting. Then if we step down to f4, corners definitely sharpen up a little bit, and the corners are definitely different from f2.8, definitely a little bit sharper and a little bit brighter. Then we've got f5.6, and then we've got f8, and you can see f8 is where this lens really does excel. I think this lens is bitingly sharp at f8. Then we've got f11 here, and then all the way to f16. Again, you can see the corners soften up a little bit just due to diffraction. So let's quickly have a look at distortion and vignetting. So as you can see by the graph, here it is at 24mm wide open at f2.8. You can see there's a small amount of barrel distortion. It's not really noticeable, but it definitely is there. But you can definitely see there is a little bit of vignetting. And if we step down to f4, you can see that vignetting gets pushed to the corners. And then if we go to f5.6 and then f8, you can see that vignetting pretty much definitely disappears, but the distortion is still there. So let's go ahead and zoom into 70mm. Now at 70, that distortion is actually flipped into mild pincushion distortion, which may notice on some photos, but it is very subtle. And if we have a look at the vignetting, again, quite bad at f2.8, but then if we step down, f4 pushes it right to the corners, and then f5.6, and then at f8, it pretty much disappears. So for distortion and vignetting, it's more of an average score. So overall, I was actually really impressed with the image quality of this lens. It's not perfect, and it's not the sharpest lens I've ever tested, but for a standard zoom lens, I think it's really, really good. Far better than the EF 24-70mm, but I wouldn't say it's better than, let's say, some prime lenses. I don't think it's going to replace prime lenses, but I definitely think it's something you can add to if you're after more of a run and gun setup, or you just want to use one lens. Then I think this lens really does excel in that environment. You're getting incredible versatility with that image quality. So I think it's really good in that regard, but I can't give it the full marks because there are definitely some better lenses out there, like the 28-70mm, which is very similar, but far more expensive. So because of that, I'm only gonna be giving this lens a 9 out of 10. Almost perfect, but not quite. So let's move on to size and weight. Now, because this lens has got a brand new feature of image stabilization, Canon's very first standard zoom lens with image stabilization, it does make this lens quite big and also quite heavy. So this lens comes in at 900 grams compared to the RF 28-70 f2, that comes in at 1,430 grams. Far heavier, but don't forget that's an f2 lens, where this is just an f2.8. But if we compare it to the EF 24-70, that comes in around 100 grams less at 805 grams. Then if we look at the size chart here, you can see it's in the middle. So the EF 24-70 is definitely smaller, and the RF 28-70 f2 is definitely larger, massive lens that. So this lens kind of fits in the middle. It's not the lightest, but it's also not the heaviest lens on my list. And with a filter thread of 82mm, this definitely isn't a small lens. So it's, you know, it's an average score. It could definitely be smaller, but thanks to the new image stabilization and obviously an f2.8 aperture, it's definitely quite large. So, you know, it will definitely take up room in your camera bag. I think that's what I'm kind of saying. So because of that, I'm going to be giving it a 6 out of 10. Okay, so let's move on to focus motor and image stabilization and what this lens is like when you're using it for video. Now, I think the autofocus of this lens is exceptional. Unbelievably quick, and also in a low light environment is also really good as well. So when I was shooting the first dance photos, again quite low lit, I am using flash, it nailed the focus almost every single time, and I was using the R5. So yeah, if you're coupling it with any of the new mirrorless cameras, this lens is exceptional when it comes to autofocus. I'd also say the same when it comes to image stabilization. Again, like I was saying, this is a brand new feature to a standard zoom lens when it comes to Canon. So image stabilization and also an f2.8 aperture, this lens really is an amazing lens for hybrid shooters. So it has 5 stops of image stabilization built in. Then if you couple it with, let's say, an R5, an R6 Mark II, or the R3, basically any camera with IBIS, that's in-body image stabilization, you get up to 8 stops of compensation, which is genuinely amazing. So if you want to do any handhold long exposures, or you want to use this lens for video, it is going to excel in that region more than kind of any other lens I can really think about, especially when it comes to other brands, for example. So yeah, this lens is amazing when it comes to kind of hybrid work, when it comes to video, or when it comes to photography. Highly, highly recommended in that regard. If you're a hybrid shooter like me, look no further than this lens here. So because of that, I'm going to give it the full marks, the 10 out of 10. Right, so we've looked at build quality, image quality, size and weight, and also the focus motor. So let's move on to the all-important price and how much are Canon asking for this amazing lens. Well, annoyingly, they're asking for a decent amount of money. In fact, it's one of the most expensive lenses I've reviewed, coming in at a whopping £2,629, a crazy amount of money. If you can find this lens secondhand, and I highly recommend you do, you might be able to save a little bit. Otherwise, you're spending a decent amount of dough on this lens, but it is nowhere near the price of the other lens we're looking at today, the Canon 28-70mm f2. Now, I do love this lens, but I do not like the price, coming in at a whopping £3,299. Even more money. And if you can find that lens secondhand, again, highly recommend looking at secondhand for any of these lenses. You may be able to save a decent amount of dough, but otherwise, these two lenses are amazingly expensive, just hugely expensive. And then we've got the EF 24-70 f2.8, and that comes in still very expensive, £2,109. But because this is an EF lens, there are far more secondhand out there, and I was actually able to find one for around 1,300 quid if you're willing to look at some slightly more used ones. So yeah, highly recommend secondhand if you can. Otherwise, you're spending a decent amount of money, and because of that, I can't give it anywhere near the high score. So I'm only going to be giving it a 5 out of 10. Right, so it's come to that part of the video where we look at the pros and cons to really summarize this lens, to really work out, is this lens worth a spot in your camera bag? So let's go and have a look at the pros first. First of all, it has superb optics for a standard zoom lens. Granting you, it's not the best I've ever seen, but this lens really does perform well when it comes to the overall image quality. Highly recommended. It also has a really good and accurate autofocus motor. That new nano autofocus motor is exceptionally fast and really reliable, even in a low light environment. You've also got amazing image stabilization, up to 8 stops when you couple it with an R5 or an R6. Really good if you're a hybrid shooter like myself. And you've also got great build quality as well. Weather sealing, which means you can take it into a more dusty or moisture rich environment. Right, so that's a few pros. Let's go and have a look at the cons of why you shouldn't have it in your camera bag. It's actually quite big and quite heavy thanks to that new autofocus motor and the fairly complicated optical formula. And it's also obviously quite expensive as well. Definitely not for the faint-hearted, and if you're an amateur photographer out there, I could probably send you to a few other recommendations other than this lens, because it is horrendously expensive. Right, so there go the pros, and there go the cons. Yes, the pros are great, but the cons are definitely worth thinking about. A big lens and also an expensive lens, something to think about, especially if you're an amateur photographer or getting into the wedding industry. And there we go, guys. So there is my review of the Canon RF 24-70mm f2.8, a definite recommended lens by myself, especially if you're a hybrid shooter. If you want to use this lens for photography and also video, look no further than the 24-70mm. But if you're more of just a photographer, maybe you're a wedding photographer and that's all you do, then I would probably recommend maybe the 28-70mm over it. You know, this lens is great, but if you're not necessarily using the image stabilization, I could maybe send you to the 24-70 EF version or maybe the 28-70 RF version. There are a few other lenses out there that I would recommend. This lens is great, grant you, but to be honest with you, with that price, it's definitely difficult for me to recommend to someone that isn't a professional photographer. So unless you're earning serious money from your photography, I would stay away from this lens. But if you don't and you're a hybrid shooter, highly recommend it. And with a score of 40 over 50, this is a highly recommended lens to have in your camera bag. I've been James for Photo Fever, and I'll catch you guys next time.